Um, Perfect. Well, thank you for being here. My name is Brandon Walter. For those of you who do not know me, I'm with Barry Walter Senior Company. We are a Northwest vendor. We manufacture replacement plumbing parts such as stems and cartridges, along with a lot of other different items. We have 15 CNC lathes and go through 7,000 pounds of brass a week. Here today, I'll be showing you guys the best way to navigate our product and parts catalog, covering different category groups that you guys may not be aware of, along of as well as going through and talking about the best ways to send photos of these items. So here on our website at barrywalter.com, you will find the main page here. The parts catalog can be found up here in the top banner section. And when you go here, you will see all the different section breakdowns that we have. When we add new products, every month they get compiled here down at the bottom. As you can see, September was a busy month with about 20 new items. And after each month, those all get compiled into their own section breakdowns. So a new single lever cartridge will get added to the single lever cartridge, and so on and so forth. To start, we'll start with our bread and butter. This is our stem guide. In here, you can see the beginning of our index has 1 or 2 brands that we manufacture. In here, our stem guide is going to be by manufacturer, by length, so smallest to biggest by brand name. So if I know it is American Standard, I can go here to American Standard and match it up if I know the brand. We'll be giving you guys the length right here on the side, along with the seat that'll be references to as well. When we know the seats, anything with LF in front of it is going to be lead free. We will also give you the broach size up here in the top. So there are tons and tons of stems that you guys can look for and identify yourself. But if you don't know the brand, that is where our help desk will come in. There will be a video link that I will package together with this for you guys to watch. It is a 3-minute training video that goes over the best ways to send photos. Typically for a compression stem or anything like that, you'll want to lay it next to a ruler, get us this line count here for the stem, and send a picture of that with that information. After the stem guide, you're going to have the different section breakdowns. First is going to be the rebuild kits. All of our rebuild kits come unsealed. They're for single, 2, and 3 handle box kits. This is a great item when you want to go ahead and give everything a clean swap from seat to stem, from seat to handle actually. And so this will replace all the trim, the stem, and the seats with those items of that stem that gets brought into your customer. So there's more options than just replacing the individual stem. After the rebuild kits, you have your non-rising units. A non-rising unit is going to be different than a compression stem, whereas the compression stem, the whole stem travels through the gland in the body, where non-rising units, this plunger down here at the bottom of these stems, is the only thing that moves while the stem sits in place. The stem is usually held together by a clip there at the bottom. So to get the accurate length of this item, you're going to want to make sure that plunger is closed all the way down to the bottom to get the proper length when you're sending us in those photos or trying to identify it yourself. These are older decorative items that usually have goofy names like Calista or Elizabethan Classics or Piazza or Porsche. They're older decorative items, like I said. After that, we have a section of stem extensions and handle adapters. Again, all these are getting updated as we add new items here. So this will help when adapting from one set of trim to another, or trying to go from one broach to adapt a different set of trim that isn't supposed to go with that broach. So it gives you and the consumer different options, along with the stem extensions for when the tile guy puts the tile on too thick and you need to get out from that valve rough-in deep, more from the wall. Lots of problem-solving solutions and items in here. Again, you can always send what you're looking for to help desk, and we will direct you to the correct option. After extensions and handle adapters, you'll have thermostatic cartridges. Thermostatic cartridges are typically only for temperature control. They don't do any volume control. They're big, massive cartridges. We've got about 45 different options now online. So again, with these, there's nothing you need to do specifically other than get us the brooch and the length and some of that information with some good pictures, and we'll be able to help identify those. There's nothing you need to take apart or make sure there's a part protruding that'll get the length off of what you're looking for. After thermostatics, we also have your ceramic cartridges. The ceramic cartridges online now have over 600 different two-handle ceramic cartridges. So here with these, when you're taking your photos, the best thing to do again is get us an accurate length to the top of this cartridge right here, or the bottom, as we like to say internally, and get us the spline count, and we can help out identify that. So again, 600 two handles, and there's a lot of unknowns, and that's because there's so many import faucets that are coming from Amazon and online that people just don't know what the brand is. And so they're always very, very difficult to identify, and they all look so similar. So again, from the bottom of the cartridge here to the top of the stem, when you're getting that length. After the ceramics are going to be single lever cartridges. Single lever cartridges, as many of you know, are becoming very popular in our markets. Everybody is moving towards the plastic single lever cartridges. Our single lever cartridge is by length, so smallest to biggest, broken down with the components and balancing spools in the front. One thing that is very particular about single lever ceramic cartridges is when we are identifying these or trying to identify them, or if you're taking photos, the most important things on these cartridges to help identify them is going to be the diameter of the cartridge and the picture of the face. So each face on the single lever cartridges can have different variances depending on the O-rings and holes for these different ports on these cartridges, along with some different posts that can be seen either on the sides or the bottom of these cartridges. And if you look, every single one is different on these faces of the cartridge. So when you're trying to identify these or send photos, a picture of the face is one of the most valuable things to help us identify these or to identify them yourself. So the length is always going to be good as well with these, but those two items are going to be some of the most important things to identify these. After the single lever cartridges, you're going to have a section of stop stems. Stop stems, for anybody who does not know, are two different check stops on each side of the valve body that you can put a screwdriver on and close to cut off the water when you're trying to change out that cartridge. So typically, people aren't going to be too familiar with what these look like. I always like to say you might know what a Price Pfister Verve stem is, but knowing the stop that is on that valve body is a whole nother issue. So everyone should know what a Price Pfister Verve stem is, but this is the stop that goes to that valve body. So you really don't see these pulled out too often. But again, when you're getting this information, you're going to want to get us the overall length. And if they have a spline, you can send that information as well. But as you can see here, a lot of them all have a screwdriver slot. And some of them very rarely will have a brooch on the top of that stem. So they're very hard to identify. And again, all of these are going to be by length, as well as the different check stops that you may see nowadays for the thermostatic cartridges. We're doing these as well. These four that are here in color are a check stop to those thermostatic cartridges that I showed you just a little bit earlier. After the stop stems, you'll have a whole section of seats. All of our seats are in brass. They are going to be organized by thread size. And also in here, you'll see some different numbers that have a -SS on them. These are going to be for stainless steel seat options instead of brass. And the reason you may want to choose this over a brass seat is because they will help hold up to the harder water that you guys may run into. So they'll last a lot longer. They'll have a less of a tendency to chew up the washer that stem is seating up against, and can help last a little bit longer for your consumer. If you don't see one with the stainless steel seat option, just ask. We can go ahead and make one of those for you guys as well. After the seats, you'll have a whole section of PEX fittings. This is our American-made water armor crimp PEX fittings, ranging from 3/4, half, and 1 inch. It's all American made. The pricing is very competitive with everything coming from overseas. So if you guys run into any holes or need a fill in, we can be there to help out with our no minimum order policy requirements. So if you need one fitting, we'll send you one fitting. Again, pricing is competitive, and nowadays for the sales guys, there's a lot of government jobs that are requiring domestic product, and so we can be there to help quote any of those jobs that you guys may run into. Covers a lot of the main product categories, but one thing I do want to show you guys here under the monthly updates, you can click this button to see the previous months, and it'll break down all of our new add-ons by manufacturer alphabetically. So there are tons of new items in here. So if you don't see something that you're looking for in any of those section breakdowns, you can go ahead and look in here in this monthly update section. There's going to be lots of things in here that you guys may see quite often, like the Chicago metering cartridge and different items like that. So that is one thing to keep in mind with our company is we do a lot of commercial, institutional, and security replacement parts. So schools, hospitals, prisons, restaurants, anything like that. In our rebuild kit section, we actually have a whole section of service sync repair kits. So that is always something to keep in mind as you guys are calling on your different accounts. So there are plenty of different service sync kit options in here as well. I just wanted to find a couple to show off. So there's one of my favorite problem childs is Fisher. Anybody who has ever had to find any of these parts knows that they can be hard to get a hold of and hard to find a source on. So we are always doing all of that different commercial items, along with, like I said, institutional and security repair parts. So we aren't going to spend too many times in individual catalogs, but one catalog I'm going to highlight here very quickly for you today is our supplemental catalog. Here in our supplemental catalog, you'll have a section breakdown in the index. And one thing I'd like to highlight is these first 5 sections between the ceramics, non-rising, stop stem, seats, and stem extensions and handle adapters. All of these sections are getting updated online in those different section breakdowns I have already showed you guys today. So again, if you're looking for something there, those section breakdowns online are going to be the best place to find new and current items too as well. So these sections are getting updated and are a little bit outdated because of all the new product that we've added. One thing I wanted to highlight though in here with you guys is our section of different nipples and trim adapters and trim pieces for the older 1950s trim options, and some even before that. So I'm going to highlight that with you guys along with our institutional shower heads. We also have a section of flushometer parts. We also have a whole section of tools and tooling. And then my favorites, like I was saying, are institutional and security repair parts. So I will very briefly, quickly take you guys to those, but all the page numbers are referenced here for those different sections. Like I said, the first handful of sections are all getting updated online. But after the stem extensions and handle adapters, you'll run into a section of porcelain handles. Porcelain handles are coming back now. They're coming back into style. And so we do a bunch of different inserts to adapt to different stems and cartridges if a customer wants that porcelain look. We also do the index porcelain handles and make all of the different inserts that'll go in there with the two as well to adapt to different stems. Same thing with the Price Pfister style porcelain handles with all of the different buttons for those two as well. We also do a section of miscellaneous Consinity and Broadway trim. After that miscellaneous trim, you'll have all our escutcheon nipples, step nipples, and drinking fountain nipples, as well as nipple extensions. Here are your drinking fountain nipples and drinking fountain nipple kits that you salesmen may run into for schools or different municipalities. Different spout nipples and spout tubes. And one I always like to highlight is a great problem solver. This is your 1/2 inch shank extender for the 2-handle faucets. This will help get through thicker countertops. So many people are pouring concrete countertops or doing granite and aren't taking into account the extra material you have to lay under that to have your cabinets be able to support those. So this will get you the clearance that you need to properly secure those faucets and extend them through to get a good grip on that lock nut. We also do a 3/4 for the Roman tubs, and we even do one for ball cocks to get through thicker porcelain tanks on the toilets. A lot of import toilets nowadays, some of them, specifically I think Toto is what we did this for originally, have thicker porcelain tanks that you may need an extension there to get through. Again, all of our old escutcheon holders and tubes, this is your old trim pieces for your older 1900s cartridges and valve bodies, along with the escutcheons that go with those two as well. After that is the section of shower heads. This is all your commercial shower heads. So first we'll start off with Acorn, followed by Bradley shower heads, and Simmons. And you'll notice here we have the different gallons per minute, depending on what you guys need for your customer, because South Dakota and Montana just aren't the same as California these days. So we've got all those different options to help you guys out with those needs. After that, you have a bunch of repair kits for stems. People don't really repair stems. It makes a lot more sense for you guys to sell your customer the whole entire stem instead of a repair kit, but we have those options in case you ever need them. Then we also have a section of flushometer repair parts. This is mainly for Delaney flushometer repair parts. We don't do any Sloan. Sloan delivers on time, is fairly priced, and has good representation. When you have problem children like Delaney, this is where we get to step in and provide those parts, because they would rather sell you a whole entire rebuild kit rather than give you the abilities to fix those parts. A lot of the Northwests won't run into these in their markets, but we still have these options for you guys as well. After that, you have some different balancing spools. We'll have the Moen balancing spool and Delta and American Standard, which are going to be two balancing spools that you guys run into a lot actually up there in your markets. We also have the Pioneer balancing spool online. That can be found in that monthly updated section by manufacturer that I showed you guys earlier. After the balancing spools, you have some different Kohler bonnets for the Kohler valvette units, followed by some old drain components that we do for the old Crane integral sinks. And after that, your broach gauges and individual parts that we have to have for our parts we're making anyway. So all your O-rings, washers, gaskets, packings, you guys can buy all of these individually if you ever need. Buy them in bulk, store them, sell them individually if there's something you guys run into a lot of at the counters, goofy things that you guys may run into. We can help out with a lot of that stuff too as well. After the individual components, you'll actually run into our section of tools that I was talking to you about a little bit ago. So this is our seat removal set. This is what a typical import seat removal set will look like, except it's going to be chrome plated and softer metal, softer steel that'll chip and be more susceptible to rust. We use 1018 tooling steel for all of our seat removal tools. We then heat treat them to case harden them, and then black oxide them to help resist that rust. We also give you guys the options of different tools outside of that, like the left-handed threaded easy out that you will use to remove the inside when you strip the inside of a seat out. And you can kind of build your own custom seat depending on seat kit, depending on what your customer needs. It's a great set for a service plumber, anybody who does a lot of this repair work. It's going to last them a lot longer. After the different seat tools, you're going to run into our Unipolar. A lot of the individual stores stock these. We also have an updated version online that allows you to remove the 1222 PosiTemp, and we have a video online that I will give you guys in a link in the package that we send out to all the individual team members. We also do a T handle for those stop stems that I was showing you earlier. Now, like I said, not all of them are going to have a broach, but there are lots, specifically the Danco Masco Delta stops have an 18-point broach over them, and this will allow you to go down in there and grab a hold of that broach over the stem rather than using a screwdriver, because sometimes the issue you run into is that when you throw that screwdriver into that slot and begin twisting, those have a tendency to break, and so this will help eliminate that problem. We also do a Sloan tailpiece nipple wrench. Like I said, we don't do a lot of Sloan parts, but we do a tool to help remove that tailpiece nipple that has the 2 ears on the inside. This will actually index on those 2 ears and allow you to put a wrench on one side or stick it in a vise. I always recommend if you can remove that unit from the urinal, take out the plastics, and stick this tool in a vise and heat the nipple up. It'll be a lot easier to remove because they put so much sealant on that. We also do a lot of different adapters. This is one thing a lot of people are not aware of that we do. Because of our manufacturing capabilities, we actually can custom make different adapters if you run into goofy one-off items. It's one thing that we do just all the time. I feel like every month we're doing a new adapter for somebody who ran into a problem that we're trying to solve for them. So we have compression hose adapters, supply, 3/4 hose adapters, spout adapters, shower head adapters, pipe to flare, and some goofy miscellaneous things that we've done, again, because people have ran into specific problems, and we have helped solve all of these different problems for them with our manufacturing capabilities. And again, some goofy aerator adapters that we have done. We also do brass ball cock plungers. You aren't going to see those too often, but we still make all of those old brass ball cock plungers for those brass fill valves. I'll show you guys here at the end, the brass fill valves that we still make. And last in this section is our section of institutional and security repair parts. This is where you'll find everything from Acorn to Willoughby, all of your Acorn cartridges, the shower heads, and penalware for that, along with American Standard penalware, Bradley, Crane, Elger, Kohler, Leonard, Logan. And for anybody who does not know, Logan is under the Acorn umbrella, followed by Metcraft. This is your Delta Metcraft metering cartridges. I'm sure you guys have seen some of this before in the past. Anybody doing any sales calls on different municipalities and buildings like that. Powers and Simmons. This is the Simmons NS1 push button. You guys will run into that at the different parks and rec and campsites, and even Willoughby. So we do a lot of other stuff outside of the residential stems and cartridges. So salesmen, please keep that in mind. Hospitals, schools, prisons, everything from Acorn to Willoughby. And if it's not something we haven't manufactured yet because of our capabilities with the sample, we can go ahead and add those parts to our line and provide you guys quicker options with a better quality that is domestic and American made. Now that covers the supplemental catalog. And lastly, the last one to go over is our A-Brass catalog. This is all of our import options. All of our imports are from Taiwan rather than China. Very particular about the quality we put in your hands. And in here where you will find all of your handles, scutcheon, and trim pieces. You'll also see different import stem options on the high volume popular stems. This is going to be to give you guys price comparable options, any imports that are coming from overseas, so that your customers have a wide variety of options to choose from, depending on what their need is. Also, you'll have all your Delta ball seats and springs in here too as well, along with a lot of those Delta single lever cartridges now being updated online in that single lever section. The last thing in this book that you will run into is our Sesco line. Our Sesco product is all of the old brass fill valves that you guys probably don't see too often anymore, but we still manufacture these. Our brass fill valves castings are made in Colorado here locally, and we do the machining ourselves in-house. And this is where you will find your case model 50, the 62-8, Burlington Model 20s, Scoville fill valves, along with the one-piece fill valves for the American Standard and Kohler Alto toilets, and followed by my personal favorites, the Model 12 backfill for the high tank pull chain toilets. So we can help out anytime you guys run into those items too as well. Now, it's a lot of products to cover in a short amount of time, but I wanted to make it as clear and concise and easy for you guys and give you the direction of where to go to find things if you care to look for yourself. But the most important thing is going to be our help desk here. And our help desk, again, is going to give you the ability to send photos of stems or cartridges you can't identify yourself, or if you're busy and don't want to take the time to go look, which by all means, please do send those whenever you guys are busy or swamped. The key with parts is they have great margins to be made until you spend an hour looking for something. So let us help, let us be there as a support for you guys. The package that we will be sending out is going to include a link to our help desk training video. It is 3 minutes. Also with some different literature and PDFs too, to help you guys train your plumbers to take good photos, because I'm sure you guys see terrible photos from them all the time. And as well, I'll be including a hot, cold, left, right guide that goes over the intricacies of some of the old identification processes that we use, because we try not to use hot or cold internally. We like to use left hand or right hand because the application may vary. When you have round or cross handles, both of those stems are going to turn the same way. So you do not need a hot or cold, you need two of the same. With lever handles, on a deck, they will be opening towards you, but on a wall, they are going to be opening the opposite way because of gravity. And so those are going to be switched. And so the left hand or the right hand may vary depending on the application that it's being used in. And so I'll make sure to include that for everything that you guys need to as well. Feel free to reach out through email or phone call if you guys have any questions for me and would like to learn more about this. Or if you have any more intricate details you may want to ask a question on. I will make sure to give out my information in this as well, so that way you guys have my line and email. But the help desk is going to be your best friend, as we are here to support you guys with all of these things you may run into. Price availability as well. You can always email help desk for pricing on an item and availability as well, or lead times and to check on an order. It's going to be your one-stop shop when it comes to working with us. We'll be there to make your guys' lives easier. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope it was about as quick and clear as I could get today. And if there are any questions or anything you guys need, don't hesitate to reach out to us.